So you're considering moving to the state of Florida, but you aren't really sure where you want to land. Do you want to go to North Florida? Do you want to go to South Florida? And my whole purpose in today's video is to really show that they are completely different, right? If you're looking at North Florida, South Florida, they're way different in terms of the weather, they're way different in terms of lifestyle, and they're way different in terms of the cost. And in today's video, my goal is to go over all those things so that you have a good idea where you want to land. Now, I've lived the majority of my life here in northeastern Florida between Jacksonville and St. Augustine, but I've traveled all throughout Florida and I have a good idea of what every area consists of and what the main differences are between living in South Florida and living in North Florida. And to tell you the truth, living in North Florida is going to be better. I'm a little biased, but it's the truth. But I've helped a ton of people relocate here to the state of Florida, and if it's not here locally in my area, I have a ton of referral partners throughout the state of Florida that can help you out, and they're actually going to do a good job for you. So you're not just going to get hooked up with some random realtor that doesn't know what they're talking about. So let's get into the biggest one that you're probably wondering is like, what is the price difference between North Florida and South Florida? So what I did is I took the 3 biggest counties in North Florida and we're going to compare them to the 3 biggest counties in South Florida. The 3 counties in South Florida that we're going to look at are going to be Palm Beach County, Broward County, and of course, Miami-Dade. The 3 counties that we're looking at in the northern part of Florida is going to be St. Johns County, where St. Augustine is located, Duval County, which is essentially the entire city of Jacksonville, and also Alachua County. So if you're familiar with Gainesville or maybe the University of Florida, that's another area we're going to be talking about. So what we want to take a look at is really 2 of the biggest things that you want to know about, which is going to be the median sale price in each of those counties, but also talk about insurance, because if you've been hearing anything about Florida, you're going to think that insurance is probably one of the biggest issues that we have here, and it is. So the most expensive county in South Florida is going to be Miami-Dade County with a median sale price of $670,000. That's going to be followed by Broward County at a $630,000 median sale price, and then Palm Beach County at $626,000 for their median sale price. Now, of course, there's homes that are going to sell in the multiple millions of dollars, and there's homes that are going to sell for less than the median sale price. We're just giving you the roundabout ballpark area here. Now, St. Johns County is one of the wealthiest counties in the entire state of Florida. Our median sale price here is actually $563,000. So we're not too much different than what you're seeing in South Florida and the majority of those areas. But if you're just looking just outside of St. Johns County, you can go to Duval County where it is actually a lot cheaper. Median sale price in Duval County right now is $328,000. And then if you actually wanted to go more inland, which I don't know why anyone would, personally, it's not my thing, going to be a little bit more rural as well, you go to Alachua County where the median sale price is actually $360,000. So just based on median sale price alone, you could save somewhere between $100,000 to $300,000 just by moving to the northern part of Florida, just based on the median sale price. But there is more to that that's going to actually save you more money. It's going to save you thousands of dollars every single year. And that's going to be the cost of insurance. Now, we all know that's a hot topic issue when we're talking about the state of Florida. Can you even get insurance? How expensive is it going to be? And when we're talking about South Florida, that's where a lot of those issues are going to be coming from. Because at the end of the day, South Florida is a lot more prone to get hit by hurricanes that are coming off the Atlantic and the Caribbean than northeastern Florida or many other parts of Florida in general. So if you're looking to get an insurance policy in South Florida, and yes, it's definitely still possible, it's just going to cost you a good bit of money. You should expect to pay around $5,000 a year for basic homeowners insurance in South Florida. This isn't counting flood insurance. This is just basic homeowners insurance. So that flood insurance could actually add another $5,000 or $10,000 a year to what your total umbrella of homeowners insurance and flood insurance might cost. Now, if you compare that with northeastern Florida, this is where I work, so I do this every single day, it's going to be significantly cheaper, and that's because we're not typically in the direct path of the majority of hurricanes that hit the state of Florida, and that's backed by statistics. We're going to cover that later in the video when we talk about weather and hurricanes. But either way, it's much more affordable to live here in northeastern Florida, and it's more comparable with the rest of the United States. On average, the United States has a homeowner insurance policy of around $2,200, and northeastern Florida, where I live, actually comes right around that, if not below it for many homes. Just to give you a quick example, my sister's buying a $430,000 house around the corner. She's going to be closing next week. The homeowner's insurance that she got quoted for was $70 a month. Now, do I expect that to go up? 100%. I imagine it'll be somewhere between $100 or $150 a month. But even still, if it's $100 a month, that's only $1,200 a year, saving you around $4,000 every single year just by moving here in northeastern Florida. So if you're just basing your decision off of cost, then northeastern Florida is going to win all day long. But is South Florida worth the price of admission? And this question really brings up, like, okay, what's the main difference in terms of my lifestyle between northeastern Florida and South Florida? South Florida is going to be way more developed than what we see here in North Florida, and it's more or less a concrete jungle of Florida, right? It's a lot. If you look at a Google map, you'll see that if you're looking at the state of Florida, pretty much all of South Florida is going to be gray. At the end of the day, living in South Florida in a place like Miami has a ton of benefits. If you're looking for more like an international vibe, looking for some nightlife, big sporting events, South Florida is going to have all that. It's going to be a higher price point, of course, but at the end of the day, it's going to have a lot more activities that a big city is going to have versus northeastern Florida or North Florida, where it's going to be more of a rural, more focused on families and suburban life. So when you think of North Florida versus South Florida, you're going to see a stark difference between like the lifestyle there, where South Florida is definitely going to be more or less like a major metropolitan area, where North Florida is going to be more or less like the suburb of a major metropolitan area. Because at the end of the day, we do have the city of Jacksonville, but if you've ever visited Jacksonville, it doesn't have that same energy, that same vibe of the majority of the cities across the country. But it is getting there. They're turning the corner, putting a lot of money into downtown Jacksonville, which makes it a prime opportunity to invest in if you are looking to buy a home as an investment. North Florida is going to have the historic charm in St. Augustine. It's also going to have more of a slower pace. It's going to be more family oriented, and it's going to be more geared around like suburban lifestyle versus like the hustle and bustle of the city. But of course, every place just depends on you personally and what you're looking to move for and what you envision your lifestyle being down here in Florida. Is it going to be more of like, hey, I want to be able to go out to Art Basel in Miami. I want to be able to go to the Dolphins game. I want to be able to ride down to the Keys whenever I can to go fishing. That's going to be more of a South Florida thing. Or if you see your life being more slow paced, more going out to eat, enjoying it a little bit, coming back home by 9 o'clock and hitting the hay and enjoying more of a country suburban lifestyle than what you would find. It just depends on what you and your family are looking to do. Which leads us into our next point, which personally I think is going to make or break a lot of people's decision, especially if you're afraid of hurricanes in the state of Florida, and that's a reality of living here. Then this is probably going to be one of the more important points. And we're going to be talking about weather and hurricanes. Literally, if you go just 2 hours south of me during the winter, they actually stay like around 85 degrees all year round. Whereas here in North Florida, we get a little bit of a chill in the air. You can actually break out a jacket or a hoodie. And sometimes at night, it gets down to like the 30s and 40 degrees, which really in Florida, once it goes under 70, that's chilly for the majority of Floridians here. And if we're talking about hurricanes, this is really where North Florida shines compared to South Florida. If you're really worried about this, you definitely want to move to North Florida because South Florida gets hit with hurricanes more than anywhere else in the state. It's just where they come from. They come from the Caribbean, they come from the Atlantic, and they go right through South Florida, up through the middle of the state. Rarely do they come up through the Atlantic and bounce into North Florida. If we're looking at how many hurricanes have made landfall in St. Johns County over the past 125 years, only 4 major hurricanes have made landfall in St. Johns County over the past 125 years. When you compare that with South Florida, you're going to see the majority of South Florida is going to be in the high 20s, low 30s for how many hurricanes have made landfall there. Now, of course, living in North Florida or anywhere in the state of Florida, we're still affected by hurricanes and the bands that are created around them, but it hasn't been a direct hit in northeastern Florida for many, many years, which is one of the biggest benefits of living here. And that's also why the cost of our insurance is that much cheaper than South Florida. But here's the catch, and here's the truth of it, right? Do you guys expect insurance to get any cheaper? No, right? Those guys are going to keep charging because they can. At the end of the day, northeastern Florida and North Florida in general is going to be better insulated for those changes than South Florida just based on their hurricane risk profile. So let's go to our next point, which is going to be really your pace of life, what you're looking to do and what kind of gear you're in, right? So if we're talking about a car, everyone's driven a car before, I would say really, South Florida is going to be 5th or 6th gear. You're going to 80, 90 mile per hour on the highway everywhere you go, if you can get anywhere because of traffic and congestion. It is more of a hustle and bustle across the entire state. Miami and that South Florida area is going to be one of the more congested areas for sure. Now, of course, we have Orlando where you have all the tourists that go there. Traffic over there can be awful as well. But in terms of like how it feels, it's definitely more of a city vibe down there where it's a go, go, go mentality. Now here in northeastern Florida, I tell people like St. Augustine's kind of like a 3rd gear. Jacksonville's probably like a 4th, 5th gear, and it's really gearing up to get up to 5th, right? And then Alachua is probably going to be like a 3rd or a 2nd gear, right? It's not going to be going that fast. We have just enough to keep you happy, but just enough to where you go home and you're not screaming at someone stuck in traffic for an hour. And that's the reality of living in South Florida. We've all seen it on the news. We've all seen it on TV. People make jokes about it, about how terrible it is, the congestion and the traffic in there. And many people that I know have moved up here from South Florida for that exact same reason. They moved there 20, 30, 40 years ago, and it's not the same lifestyle that they signed up for anymore. So when you're thinking about South Florida, think long commute times, think tolls, and think heavy traffic and congestion. When you're thinking about North Florida, of course, we have traffic and congestion, but it's nowhere near the level of what you would see in South Florida or maybe in Orlando. Think more of like suburban, urban sprawl, where you have a cute little quaint downtown, whether it's Jack's Beach or St. Augustine Beach, where people go and hang out, go get food, and then you just really have more of a slower pace of life. And in reality, both are great. I lived in New York for many years. I love the city. I love the walkability of it. I love always having something to do. But there's many places outside of there, especially in today's world, where you can still get the same kind of feel without all the issues that a big city vibe brings. So let's talk about our next point, which is going to be like, okay, hey, if I'm buying as an investment, which is going to be the best area to buy in? Now, if you're looking at South Florida, of course, you're going to have like higher end luxury condominiums and houses down there. Obviously, big money has moved into South Florida over the past couple years. So you're probably going to continue to see that trend just based on like what's happening in our national landscape, our local economies here in the state. I imagine that trend is going to continue, and South Florida is going to continue to attract more and more wealthy people to the area, especially as taxes get more and more crazy. In South Florida, you know you're going to have a strong rental demand, and you're also going to have a strong demand and appreciation for more of the high-end luxury properties. So when you're thinking about North Florida, you want to think more of like a stable growth. Like it is growing, and maybe one day it might be like South Florida. Who knows? I know a lot of people here would hate that 100%. But at the end of the day, South Florida wasn't what it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's way different than it is today. And all places are subject to change. And I don't think North Florida is outside of that, especially how much development I've seen over these past couple of years. But for now, you can expect some stable growth. You can expect more land to build on because we got a ton of it up here. And you can also expect a lower volatility in terms of pricing. Not going up crazy, not going down crazy, more steady. So do you chase the flashy high-end lifestyle of South Florida, or do you come to North Florida and chase something a little bit different? Totally up to you. Now, if you're asking me personally, I'm obviously very biased. I live here in St. Augustine. I love the lifestyle that it provides here. Downtown St. Augustine has some of the best food and dining in northeastern Florida. Also entertainment-wise, a lot of great bars down there, a lot of great live music. We got beautiful beaches. We also have a lower cost of living than South Florida. But on top of that, and this is probably one of the bigger things for me, is that yes, it gets hot during the summers, you know, June, July, August, which is the months we're in right now. It can be brutally hot, and this summer was one of the hottest. But if I lived in South Florida, that's how it always is. That's a constant. It's always hot no matter what. Me personally, someone that's lived in the Northeast, I actually like that, hey, it does get a little bit of cold here. You do feel like there's a little bit of change in the weather. Every day it's tropical in South Florida. Up here in northeastern Florida, you get a little bit of the chill in the air, especially when it comes around fall time, which for me, someone who lived in the Northeast and grew up there as well, I love that, right? I love the ability to like throw on a hoodie, smell that crisp fall air. No changing the leaves here, unfortunately, but it is one of the bonuses of living here in northeastern Florida versus South Florida is that we do get a little bit of a change of weather, and it's not Groundhog's Day every day. So guys, if you are looking to buy, sell, or invest here in northeastern Florida or the entire state of Florida, make sure you reach out to me directly. There's a Calendly link below where you can schedule a 30-minute consultation with me. It's completely free, no pressure, no sales tactics, just me and you having a conversation about what you want to do. Until next time, guys, have a good one.